Hey, second, Robert. This is Jose Otep
Hey,
Matabel from
Robert
Zambia.
Jose, how you doing?
I'm doing my best, my brother. How are you doing?
Do my best too, and that's all. The best is all that one can do.
Yes, that's it. Second,
Tour,
my brother. I was reading the Patarakol expanding,
the all
and
expanding.
yes, I've been sober for some time now, but for the first time I felt high again.
I love that expression. Yeah, yeah. Go on.
So I want clarifications because a lot of points on the book on which I couldn't grasp it right,
Yeah.
and I just got a little bit blurry and confused. So
Okay.
starting from
Let me
the
see if I
beginning,
can grab it, right? Because
yeah, grab it
then I can
because
follow along with you. Because we keep explaining to people about how important it is to read the Patriarchs because that's the way, and as tiny as small as they may appear, the information in them is so heavy sometimes. But yeah, I'm just trying to find my copy. But you can go ahead and actually,
yeah,
yeah,
actually I have a lot of points on
they're
the
all expanding. Yeah, my good brother's
expand.
gonna try and look for it for me. Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead. Yeah.
I have a lot of points on which I need explanation, and some I have questions to
Okay.
ask. So I can, in the meantime, as you're looking for the book, I can just ask you a few questions that came up, or which at least I could formulate the questions in
Yes.
order to understand what was that all about. I would start maybe from, because since the beginning, from the
Yeah.
second verse, when I need explanation from,
Okay.
so 2 to 5, but let me see, I have a few questions here. So the point 13, verse 13, is how the universal order is controlled. This is one of the questions that I could formulate. And another question that I have.
I mean, let's take them one at a time,
Okay,
because that way it's easier to digest. So, is that the first question? Is how universal order is what
controlled.
controlled? Okay, I can hear something echoing back. Okay, so we have to break down the words to kind of make it easy for us. So we have to say what
Okay,
is universal. So universe is dealing with the universe, right?
correct.
So when you say order, order is the way that our ancestors have set things in motion, and they've been designed in a way that you can't change it. So for example, people will say that the sun sets and rises every morning and evening, but
Mm.
that's been going on like that for millions and millions of years. It's like it's been set in motion. So when you're dealing with order, order is also justice or something that is made by our ancestors who are, like we've mentioned many times, the guardians of the galaxy. Because just like if you look at the world where we live, you will have different countries
Mm-hmm.
which are actually like different sovereign states. So then you will have, so that would be like even within one country, like if you were to take, say, America then has like different states. And within those states, they actually autonomous or they govern themselves based on, the laws for each state. Yeah. So each state can actually like you from one state the law can be different. Like in one state you may be able to, I don't know, like have abortions. In another state they won't have that. And then you have laws that are, you know, federal, which means that they're kind of above the state. So the federal law will obviously be higher than the state law. But in addition to that, even though America is a sovereign state, and Russia would be another one, and some of these only became sovereign states in much recent times. Excuse me. So,
Okay.
but then you have what we call international law, where treaties are signed, where you have like the United Nations, where you have, where if there are states or sovereign states that have conflict, they can actually now take it to the Hague or take it to that what we call, the international courts of justice, yeah, like the ICJ. And I'm building up to say that the bigger you go in terms of a country and then nations, and then you'll have like the planet, then you have the galaxy. So you also have beings from different galaxies that make up a galactic council, right? But
Okay.
in addition to that, you will have the most intelligent beings, or what we refer to as supreme beings, who are like the highest beings that actually create and put things in motion, like the galaxies and the universes. And when we're talking about universes, we're starting to look into multiverses, omniverses, all right, or the omniverse. And so when you're saying universal order, you're literally saying the order that governs the universe, and the beings that deal with that are these highest beings. And when you get to that level, it's just like you're not working in isolation. Like here, for example, you might have a prime minister or a president that's over the country, but even then they will still have like a cabinet. But when you're dealing with these higher beings, you're dealing with councils, and you're dealing with like, different beings that sit on that council. And so they're the ones that will be those that actually, deal with universal order. And that becomes known as Ma'at, when those ancient beings came here and set up, because remember, they came here and set up a home away from home, even when you're dealing with the Nataru, or most known as the Natiru. So that order became known as Ma'at, or when you're dealing with the intelligent beings, they were raised and brought up, brought up in like the highest orders, which would be like the order of Melchizedek, the ancient mystical order of Melchizedek. And beings were then initiated into these orders, the Zodoks or the Zodokites. And that's how, the most intelligent beings will be a part of those orders to get the most, I guess, like important or potent information about, yeah, like anything to do with supreme information and supreme beings. So does that help with that first question?
Well, okay. Let me just to ask to test the comprehension. It will be accurate to say that universal order is controlled by beings from different galaxies that make the council.
No, that would be the galactical order. So you've got beings that are part of the Galactic Federation, which is a federation made up of different beings from different galaxies. But then above that, you're dealing with the universe, which is only certain beings. But again, those beings would be the highest beings. So they would deal with the universal order.
Okay, so are beings from different universes that control that make the council.
Yes. So can you grab the 9? The 9, I think it's up there. So I'll read something quickly from the 9, which will kind of maybe put it more into perspective for you. No, I'm sure I put it over there. It's not there?
No.
Okay, I'll look for it at some point throughout. Yeah, you've got it right. Right, let me see if I can find it for you. So yeah, have you got the book The 9 by Parna Babyanun, the master teacher?
No, I don't have the 9.
Okay. For those that are watching, this is it here. It's called The 9. All right, let me see if I can find that bit I'm talking about. Okay. I'm going to read the introduction, and then I'll see if I can find the piece I'm talking about. I know this is a live, so, we may... Um, okay. All right. Let me read the introduction, and then I'll carry on looking for the other piece. So it says, "Let me Atum Ray inform you, it was me who guided the hand of Malachi Z Kobina York Okran from the year 2000 AD. Before me were others, right? This is, I am of the nine, born of Nunet and Nun. So I am named primeval one, called Tum, from the word perfect, entire, perfect, entire. The same word in Arabic is tamam, from the Hebrew tamim. It says, one who is a perfecter. I am here in order to perfect the way by way of the truth. Wu-Sabat, Wu-Nuwat. We, the nine, are the guardians of the underworld. That is Sirius, the chamber of the south, in the book of Job, Ayub 9:9. And he says, I entered his body when he was first born. He is a medium, a channel. By way of him, we are able to transcribe out formation into information for you all, the lost found people. We searched for you many years until he found you all amongst the sleeping under a hypnotic trance, not remembering self and kind. We returned in 2003 and again in 2013 AD. Yet you all were not ready to depart towards home. We tried to communicate by way of the white and the red races. However, their nature was weak and wicked. We have visited the brown and the yellow races. They are safe by way of us, and many white and red women are safe by way of mixing their seeds with others, because the end of their species has arrived. The year 2000 AD and the 21st of December 2012, the new cycle called 9 support deities in the language of the Mayas, engraved in the year 669 AD, the Tortuguru inscription. It is now the fifth world, the first of the next 6,000 years, the seventh day, the millennium. We are from Orion and Sirius, guarding the overseers, the watchers. We will soon depart from here for the final time. You all are the 13th lost tribe the Nuapians found. So there you heard the brief mention of him being one of these 9 guardians, and that's who I was referring to. But in the 9, when I can find the other part, it explains a little bit more about the 9, the Council of 9 that I'm referring to. But go ahead with your follow-up or your next question.
Okay, the next one is on the verse number 7, all expanding.
Did we find all expanding? No?
All expanding,
Yeah.
the Pataras,
Yeah.
which mentions incarnated universe. I got lost here. How can a universe be incarnated?
Can you read it? Because I don't have it in front of me. I'm trying to find it. But
okay.
if you just read like one of the line, the verse, start from a verse before the one you're going into, and then one after that. Yeah.
Let me just quickly open it. Hold on a second.
No problem. We have to be mindful that, yeah, this is a line that many people are going to course through, so we can't hug it up for too long. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. Let me read it here. This should be 7. Yes, 7. And this incarnated universe was at one time chaos and its opposite at another time.
Right. Okay.
The incarnated universe here in this context.
Okay, so when you're looking at anything today physically, it comes from a state beyond what we consider to be physical. Yeah? So, like, universes are birthed just like how, we are born by, you have a birth, you have a period where you grow, and then you also then go back from that state that we refer to as the ether or natural ether energy. So when you're dealing with energy, you can have what would appear, what people will say positive, and then you have what people will consider negative. So, yeah, so it's saying that when you look at these, if you read in the Holy Tablets, it actually explains how this universe was birthed. And when people are talking about, they will say the universe started with a big bang, for example. That bang is talking about that birth of this one universe, and from from that it's a kind of like a echo, and then
Ripple
things,
effect.
yeah, that's right, and then things slow down in vibration and become more dense. So that's what it's referring to.
Okay, which is the birth of this universe.
Yes.
Okay, so again, I have plenty more questions on this, but
I mean, no one has called yet, so keep going until someone calls,
okay, all right.
and then we can
Let's move to
interrupt.
22.
Yep.
Because I'll bring up the points on which I need clarification and help.
Sure.
22, I read, and that is what I am or will do right now. That is happening by my body right now, between two called voluntary body functions and involuntary body functions.
Right.
So when it comes to this point 22, I did not understand the context. However, I could see the previous points that, okay, we have the voluntary functions that we can perform and those that are performed naturally by
Right.
nature.
Mm-hmm.
So the 22 itself, I did not understand what it means in this context.
In the context of voluntary and involuntary actions.
No, it says,
Yeah, go on, read it again.
and I'll read it again, 22. And that is what I am or I will do right now, because it's related with time as well. What is happening by my body right now between two called voluntary body functions and involuntary body functions. What is happening right now is the center which I can sense.
Yes.
Because as I'm reading right now, I'm talking to you. Actually, I'm having clarity about it.
Right. Basically, when you deal with what people consider time, he explains that you have then, which are things that have already occurred, and then you have now, and then you have then, which is considered to be the future. So what he's explaining is that in the now, right, where every moment you're living, it's a now, because it the minute you say something, make a sound, that sound decays, so it becomes a then in the past. So you're living now, and the involuntary and voluntary actions that you're executing right now is what he's referring to. So for those who are listening who may not know what we mean by voluntary and involuntary actions, there are actions that you control. Like, for example, I can say to myself, move my hand up, and I will move it up. But there are things that you do which are involuntary, like some
Heartbeat.
examples.
Heartbeat.
Yeah, like your heartbeat, your blinking, the internal systems, the way they are working without you even realizing what's happening. These are all involuntary actions that, whether you're aware of it or not, they're going to take place to keep you functioning. And the voluntary ones are the ones you can control yourself. But yeah, I really want to see if I can
Can't
find it,
find it.
because sometimes when you read it in context of what is said before and after, it becomes very clear. But yeah, keep going.
The involuntary and involuntary, man from Planet Risk goes into that as well.
Yeah.
So now we can jump to 30 to 31. I need explanation here, but I'll start from 29 to give context, which says 29. Nature is in control of your fate, involuntary, or that which will happen. You are just part of all, papahood, the all. Then we need explanation. 30. The all is / I am. 31. The time is now. Example, 9 o'clock. Exist. 32. And there are two 9 o'clocks, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Right.
I got lost here on the all and the exist. How can I logically
Okay.
help this to understand
Okay.
this?
So we have to liken ourselves to the cosmos, meaning that you on your own are a universe, okay? And
Okay.
and as a universe, you're composed and behave and do everything that the universe does, right?
Okay.
So you by yourself, in isolation of anyone else, is uni. Uni means one, all right? So when he said that there are two states. Remember when I said the then, the now, and the then. So
Yes.
he's explaining that duality where you have 9 a.m. and you also have 9 p.m. But in between those two, you're here in the middle where you've passed the 9 a.m. that took place already, but you're in the now going to the 9 p.m. which is then in the future to come. Yeah?
Can you
And
repeat that last part?
so
In the future.
well, what we call the future, because if you've gone past 9 a.m., yeah, before you get to 9 p.m., there's a space in between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., right?
Correct.
That's the now that you're in until you get to the 9 p.m. And then even though you're going to go past 9 p.m., that 9 p.m. becomes the then in the past.
The past.
And then the 9 a.m. to come is going to be in the then in the future. But you're always in between the two. So when you when you start to look at everything, there are these two sides and you're in the now all the time. That's why people say don't focus on the past because it has gone, and don't focus on the future because it hasn't arrived. So really, if you're worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, tomorrow hasn't come and tomorrow never comes, because when you arrive at what you're calling tomorrow, it becomes now. You follow?
That's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And then, as I was saying, if there are two people together, instead of a universe, you now have a dual verse, because each person is a universe by themselves, but when they come together now, it's a dual verse. And then when you add another person, it becomes a triverse. And then it's going to get to a point where there are too many people. Let's say now there's 1,000 people in the room. You're now dealing with multiverses. And that could be 1,000,000, that could be, 1,000,000,000. And then it gets to a point where you can't even count it, because people will use words like gazillion just because they're saying it's too much. That becomes an omniverse. Right, someone else is calling now. So do you have another question?
Yes. Yes. Sure. I do. Which is, and this one actually I've managed to formulate a question. Maybe
Okay,
you
let's
can
take that
answer
one, and then to be fair to everyone else, we'll take some other calls, and then you can call back again throughout the show and just ask more so that others can get their questions answered.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, this last one for this one would be: are we omniverses or we operate in different verses? Per se.
Excellent question. So individually we're universes, but each person is connected to the other person. So we're all a part of the all expanding, which is what the title of that Patarak you're reading is called. So we're all connected, even though you're by yourself, an individual, you're a universe. And then, like I said, me and my brother here, we'll be dual verse, and we're all connected to each other to the point where we say Pa'apaut, or the all expanding. So you by yourself, if you think about how you came to be, originally you started off as in fact, you started off as a thought in your mother and father's mind, and then obviously they got that thought from somewhere else, because all thoughts go back to what we call the mental reservoir. But from that thought, you became a sperm. And then from the sperm, obviously you came out, you grew as a baby, you've been expanding is what I'm saying. From a child to an adult, and you're constantly expanding. but that's just you, one universe expanding, and you're yourself inside this universe that's expanding, and everyone else is also expanding. So this is why we say, when you put English is what can throw you off, because you're trying to articulate things from a realm where, because I remember your first part was like, how can you explain existence not existing? Oh no, I think that was somebody in the chat, which will lead on. We'll lead on to that. But what you're calling not existing exists. So it just exists on a different level, a different density or vibration. But yeah, so did that help?
Yes, very much, very much. I'll call back
Okay.
with more questions, but so far so good.
Tawa.
It's clear. It's just the first time hearing such, and thank you very much.
Tawa.
Official of.
I appreciate love. I sure.